Welcome to the Grit and Grace podcast, where real conversations meet real growth. This is the place where we lean into life's challenges with grit and rise above them with grace. Whether you're here for encouragement, practical tools, or a reminder that you're not walking this journey alone, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. I'm Bethany Starks.
I'm Christy Dutton.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yes.
Today, we are going to talk about inflammation, and we're going to revisit inflammation. But first, let's talk about what we're doing in life.
Okay.
So we are about to run in Houston next week, which of course will bring you that podcast. But Christy, tell us about how you're feeling about Houston. Christy's doing the half. I'm doing the full. It's a week from tomorrow.
It is. It's in 8 days. I'm feeling good.
Oh, let me say this real fast. Quick disclaimer.
Yes.
Even the Giants fall. And so Christy's a little under the weather. She's really well. She hasn't missed any days of training.
Nope.
Yeah, she's fine. She just believes she has an allergy to cedar. She does have an allergy to cedar.
It's not confirmed,
Yes.
but it's my diagnosis.
And you know, January, mountain cedar, the wind's been blowing, but we've done all things to prop her up because she has this good friend that gives her shots in the parking lot, IVs in between patients.
Yeah.
And so anyway.
So excuse my voice, guys, but I feel great.
Yeah, her sweet little voice is just
great.
a little, but she's good.
And we're talking about inflammation.
We're talking about inflammation. We're doing lots of things. So, but anyway, back to Houston.
I feel good. I ran 5 miles today, and I'm just excited. I mean, I've got two half marathons underneath my belt. I had a hard run last weekend that I had a cramp, which got me down on grandma's, which made me walk, but I did not walk. So I endured something hard during a long run, and I conquered it.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to have ran 11 or 12 before, but I don't know. It's like once you get past 10, you're like, oh, 3 more.
Yeah.
And once you get to 23, do you have that feeling? Like, oh, 3 more. 24, 25.
Yeah, you can push through. But today was a good example of you just sometimes have to pivot in what your plan is because you wanted to protect your body. I ran 10 this morning, and you know, we talked about this with coffee this morning, and I think it's true. You know, so many times we hear people talk about, well, I don't know how you do this because you hurt or whatever. We do so many things in our day-to-day routine that I think we take for granted just to stay ready for the start line. So like we're these pitiful creatures of habit and not, you know, with our Normatex and all the things. But anyway, today felt good, and I'm excited for you to experience Houston just because it is a big race.
It's going to be my biggest, right?
Yeah, I think it is going to be your biggest. And, you know, Christy, if y'all know Christy or y'all have watched our podcast, like she really follows the weather tightly. And it looks like it's going to be okay.
So far.
So last year Houston was so cold, but it looks like it's going to be like 50s.
Yes.
Yeah.
50s. I mean, it's more windy down there.
Yeah, which will be fine.
I mean, it's almost, it was almost comparable to what we did today.
Yeah.
So it's like God's little wink.
Yes.
Of, you got this.
You're going to be okay. And I actually think we got sidetracked this morning. I was going to tell you that I'm proud of you for wearing shorts and like Christy's, she's not always in earmuffs and gloves in the 50s now. Like she's getting strong with the weather.
I'm trying.
Yes. So anyway, we're excited about that. And then we're going to, 4 weeks after Houston, we're going to run the Austin half, just the two of us, and that'll be fun.
Well, the Houston, you have people in your family also running it.
Ramsey's running the half, and then Darby, our oldest daughter, is running the half, and she has trained to 0. She has done multiple halves.
Darby.
Yeah, she'll probably do fine. I just hope she doesn't hurt herself.
Beat me.
The 18-year-old can do fine,
yes,
winging it. So, but yeah, it'll be fun.
Did she run the turkey trot?
Yeah, she ran the turkey trot. I mean, 3 miles though.
And her last one was Baylor.
Yeah, she did Baylor Marathon a year ago, and she hadn't trained for that either, and she whipped it out in like hour 45 or something. So kids can do those things.
Yeah, so I mean we're excited. It's a local race. We just got to drive to Houston.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a fast turnaround.
Yeah.
And
different than some of our other races because the whole families are going. But yeah.
we can't get into our normal routine.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's good for us to get stretched a little bit. So, But we are going to circle back to a topic that this was one of our early podcasts, and it's something that our listeners and viewers have asked about repeatedly, and then our patients and clients the same. And it's just such an important topic, and it's inflammation. And so today we're going to uncover inflammation. And, you know, inflammation is really a sign that your body is telling you something. And so many disease processes are born from inflammation. So we're going to do a little deep dive into inflammation and look at it from all the angles and the environmental exposures and just basic things that you can do to decrease inflammation.
I like it.
So, what is inflammation really? So it's a signal. It's not a diagnosis. There's no diagnosis of inflammation. It is a symptom. It is a signal that your body is telling you that there's an injury, that there's an infection, that there's a stressor, a toxin, an imbalance. And so acute inflammation can be healed. So ideally, we want to find something when you're acutely inflamed versus chronic inflammation is what leads to dysfunction and disease process.
Wow.
Yeah. So inflammation is actually something that God gave us because it's one of your body's natural defense mechanisms. So if there's something that is an outside exposure or a toxin or a stressor, then your body has this inflammatory response in an effort to we're always trying to achieve homeostasis, equilibrium. Sure. Like your body's always trying to get back to normal. And so short-term inflammation is actually protective. And chronic inflammation is damaging. So we really want to intervene. First, we don't want to be inflamed at all. But secondly, we want to intervene when it's that early inflammation that's just protective.
I mean, and they say that most of us are walking around chronically inflamed now.
Yeah, that's a huge problem, which we're going to talk about, like each disease system and kind of what that leads to. But acute inflammation actually helps us heal. Say you have a cut and it becomes inflamed and you have all these cytokines and different things that come to the source of that cut, and that is like a natural defense mechanism to heal your body. And then chronic low-grade inflammation, it is like what drives fatigue, drives weight gain, it drives insulin resistance. You see this all the time in clients that are trying to lose weight. Joint pain, hormone imbalance, chronic diseases, and it truly is like a hidden driver of so many of these symptoms.
I was listening to a podcast on the way here, and it was the Mel Robbins podcast, and she was talking to the neurosurgeon, and she was talking about like sciatic pain, and she just made this comment, and it reminded me of the inflammation, because she's like there really isn't like a normal pain. Like
right, pain is a signal. Yeah,
if you're
something
always
else.
in pain, don't normalize it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's
so
chronic.
True. Yeah.
And like if you have sciatica, or if you have stomach issues, or if you have headaches, or you have something going on in your body, again,
your body's talking to you.
Your body's talking to you.
Absolutely. So some signs of chronic inflammation, like you said, your body's speaking. Are you listening? That's fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. That is joint pain or muscle pain, brain fog, weight gain, stalled fat loss, bloating, gut issues, poor sleep, mood changes. Even, and this is not all inclusive, but if you are suddenly feeling super depressed, like that could mean something else is going on. And so inflammation shows up before a disease. And so take heed at that point. Yeah. And so acutely, injury, short-term stress, healing response, those are good. But chronic, like the poor nutrition, stress, poor sleep, sedentary lifestyle, blood sugar dysregulation, that is chronic. It's problematic. It will lead to disease states. Yeah. And most people we see, they aren't inflamed because they're sick. They're inflamed because their bodies don't ever get a break, because they're continuing to throw these toxins or, artificial sweeteners or
everything.
Just exposures that create chronic inflammation.
It's almost like when we talk about fasting.
Yeah.
Like they don't stop eating.
Yes.
And when you are continuously throwing this, your body gets so tired.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I give up.
Yeah.
And it's going to try and talk to you, and it may start soft, but it's going to get your attention.
Yeah, it really will.
And if it's getting your attention loud,
then you need to listen.
Yeah. It could be scary.
And so this is so important to note, but I said that inflammation leads to like disease processes. And so inflammation can show up before a disease. So dementia is inflammation of the brain. PCOS, polycystic ovary, is inflammation of the ovaries. Hashimoto's thyroiditis, inflammation of the thyroid. Rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, other joint autoimmune conditions, those are inflammation of the joints. And so you have the inflammation before you have the disease. So our goal is to intervene before you have the disease.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, there's so many things that's causing inflammation. And, you know, I love nutrition. I like teaching people what to eat and what is right. And there's so many foods that's common that's linked to inflammation. Ultra processed foods, anything like the way that I describe it, if it's coming out of a box or a bag or has ingredients that you don't know what they are, that is an ultra processed food that your body is it doesn't know what to do with it. And it's going to inflame your body. Refined sugars, you know, desserts, cookies, cakes, candies, crackers, bread. I mean, it's everywhere. I know it's hard to get rid of, but you know, it's unreal the difference that you can feel when you remove inflammation. And I hear that all the time. When I finally get a client to remove certain things from their diet that they're constantly putting in their diet. Like if I hear them say that they're eating a candy bar every day, or there is almost like an addictive personality, and I challenge them to stop it for 10, 30 days, and then they feel the difference. They're like, how did I walk around constantly inflamed, feeling this way? And also seed oils, canola oil, grapeseed oil, sunflower oil, and it's in so many things that are marked healthy.
Yeah.
And seed oils are a common inflammatory thing. If you have excess alcohol, you just got to understand we're not anti-alcohol. Neither of us drink, but as soon as alcohol enters your body does everything immediately to get rid of it.
Yeah.
That's all it does. As soon as it enters,
it's like, how can I get rid of this as fast as I can?
I mean, and as soon as you find that out, you're like, there's no good with it.
Yes.
And highly processed carbs. So again, anything out of boxes or bags.
All of these things disrupt your blood sugar, and they disrupt gut integrity. We haven't done a deep dive into like leaky gut and that kind of thing, but the gut has a membrane that tries to keep things out, and so it disrupts that, disrupts hormones. It's the driver of inflammation. Food is. And you know, if there's something in question, single ingredient foods, the outside of the grocery store, Whole30 if you're looking for like a specific diet plan, but the more processed stuff you can eliminate, the better.
Yeah, and again, it's not about perfection. So you know, I rarely tell people to exclude things from their diet. You know, but you do want the majority of your food to be single food, real food ingredients, because it's a terrain. And so if you are cleaning your terrain with whole food items and your terrain is more clean, when things are brought in sparingly, your body is able to process it.
Right.
And not become
because
inflamed
it's not
all
the
the
norm.
time. Yes.
Yeah. And then don't discount anti-inflammatory foods. So there are certain foods that help decrease inflammation. So that is lean protein. You know, we talk protein all the time, but lean protein supports muscle and metabolism. Omega-3 rich foods. So that is like your salmon, tuna, sardines, colorful vegetables, and berries. You know, we all have heard you want all the colors on your plate. Olive oil, healthy fats like avocado, nuts, seeds, herbs, spices. So protein's foundational, especially during weight loss, aging, hormone changes, but all of those things can be anti-inflammatory. I tell patients all the time, the two most inflammatory food groups, I think you would agree, gluten and dairy. Those are the two most inflammatory. And, you know, I've seen it personally when I eliminated gluten, eczema, different inflammatory things. I see it with kids. I had a kid the other day that had such bad eczema, and I challenged them. I was like, eliminate gluten, and they came back in just a few weeks, and it was gone. I mean, gone. And you can go down some rabbit trails, behavioral issues, like all kinds of things. But gluten is in all things processed, starch-wise, carb-wise, and Like I said, chronic exposure, chronic inflammation. And this is why personalized nutrition matters. It's one reason that you meet with clients. Sometimes you need that outside person to do the audit to go, wait a minute, you know, you're so inflamed and here's why.
Yeah.
So.
And again, you have to be patient. You have to figure it out. Every body reacts differently to food. Broccoli may irritate me,
right?
And Bethany could eat it great, and it's good for you. Cruciferous vegetables are very good for you, but every body is different, and you have to figure it out. It's a science experiment, and it is remove it. That's one thing I do love about Whole30 and fasting from things, removing things from your body, and then putting it in slowly, so that you can really take inventory. What is your body telling you?
Right. Right. And then look at environmental exposures. So some environmental exposures in today's world are unavoidable, but some we can't avoid. So that's like poor air quality, mold exposure, household and personal chemical, personal care chemicals like deodorant and toothpaste. You can get more natural things without heavy metals, endocrine disruptors like plastics and fragrances. And, are you heating plastic in the microwave, that kind of thing. But that actually makes your body have to go into overtime trying to detox. And inflammation then rises when these toxic loads from these environmental factors are too heavy.
Yeah. I mean, you say the word detox. It is such a buzzword right now. And everybody wants to enjoy their cake and eat it too,
That's
and
right.
whatever. But I'm going to do this 3-day detox.
Yeah.
I'm going to cleanse my liver.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink activated charcoal to detox my body. And they don't change their habits.
Yeah, I see it all the time. I drink heavily, but I'm going to do a liver detox.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean,
you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's right.
Have it. And I also, this is the first time, it was actually today, if you guys listened to our podcast about our December podcast, and I said that I took a picture with Ben Greenfield. I was listening to his podcast the other day, and he was talking about endocrine disruptors of like plastics and everything.
Yeah.
And he mentioned athletic wear, and how if your athletic wear that you're wearing is polyester, it's basically plastic. Have
Interesting.
You ever heard that before?
No, I haven't.
I've never. Okay.
Thanks, Ben.
I mean, yeah. Thanks. I haven't researched it yet, but I'm just throwing it out there because it's not a natural fiber.
Yeah.
And when you are sweating, your pores are open, receiving things.
That's interesting.
I
think we need to head over to the running store and get the most expensive merino wool.
Yes, merino wool, because it's December, January.
So, I have a primary care kind of health optimization clinic, and there are some inflammatory lab markers that we can look at and that we should standardly look at. And one of those is high sensitivity C-reactive protein. And so this is a non-specific marker that tells us about inflammation. And then erythrocyte sedimentation rate, ESR, that's another non-specific. And so both of those things can be elevated. I think about one of your clients. It was a patient of mine that I referred to you, and it was one of your first clients. And we looked at those inflammatory markers, and they were both high. And then she came to you, and y'all really cleaned up diet. And she began exercising, cleaned up diet, lost weight, and those markers were normal. And so you can totally change those based on exposure, food and environmental exposure. And let's just be real, it's mostly food, guys. There are so many environmental exposures in the world we live in, but food is what you can modify most. And then ferritin. So ferritin can reflect inflammation. That's your iron stores. And so that can be a reflector, low ferritin. And then fasting insulin, A1C, lipid particle markers, looking at like ApoB, those things, and then body composition trends. So that's one thing that Christy does with clients is look at body composition. So inflammation does not live in isolation. It shows up in labs and in body composition.
Yeah, it does.
Central belly fat, all of those things, you can see that somebody's inflamed. And it commonly, how common do you hear people? I hear people all the time say that they look at pictures of themselves and they look inflamed.
Look puffy.
Yeah.
Puffy. And it's almost like when somebody actually does listen to us and they either eat more low carb or they are removing sugar from their diet, things that are very high inflammatory, and they lose 5 pounds in 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't lose 5 pounds of body fat.
Right.
I wish we could.
Right.
But that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It is inflammation that they are losing.
Yes.
And then they're like, I don't feel as puffy. My rings come off. You know, my joints don't hurt. And so, and that's like your body rewarding you, hopefully that you're listening to it.
Right.
And staying on that path.
I think about you and fasting, because if you start having pain, then the first thing you do is fast. Because you're like, something's in my body that it doesn't like. So, and then cortisol. This is also such a buzzword that everybody wants their cortisol checked, and everybody, probably because everybody does have disrupted cortisol, but that is an inflammatory amplifier. So it kind of pours gasoline on inflammation. So stress isn't just mental, it is physical too. And chronic stress can lead to chronically elevated cortisol. And that in hand raises blood sugar, it breaks down muscle, it disrupts sleep, suppresses immune regulation. You see accumulation of central belly fat. And so it truly does amp everything up as far as inflammation.
Yeah. It definitely is a buzzword.
It totally is.
You said that. It's really hard to test that, right?
Yeah, well, so this is what I tell patients about cortisol, because everybody wants their cortisol checked. But your cortisol changes through the whole day. So you can do a saliva test. Insurance doesn't pay well for that. And it's basically a collection of saliva at certain points during the day, and then you can look at a curve. But if I check your cortisol just randomly in the middle of the day, it really doesn't tell me the curve. So it's not as valuable. The biggest thing that I tell patients, there are some adaptogenic herbal supplements that help with cortisol, but really you need to do an audit of your life if you feel like your cortisol is high. How can you eliminate stress? How can you get enough sleep? You know.
I agree. I mean, it's almost like, just like you said with inflammation, it can be good.
Yeah.
Inflammation, healing my throat.
Right.
It's doing good things in your body. But it's just when you keep it there.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with cortisol. Cortisol wakes you up. Cortisol gives you energy. Cortisol gives you that fight or flight if you need to react.
Right.
So it's not the enemy. It's when it's out of control.
That's right. Just like anything. And so one reason that doing more can make inflammation worse is, for example, like if we overtrain and then we undereat, you can be more inflamed. And you've seen this with athletes or people that you have trained. So if you do too much cardio without recovery, then you can see inflammation. If you're not eating enough protein, if you're not prioritizing sleep or high caffeine. So your body perceives this as danger, not discipline.
Amen.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a little convicting to me.
I know. It's just people do more. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to eat less. Oh, eating less is, I see that so often.
Yeah. But you know what I think of? It's what we talked about at the beginning. You haven't felt your best, and you were supposed to run 11, 12 miles today. And what did you do? Yesterday, you were like, I'm going to dial back, and I'm going to only run 5 because I don't want to stress my body more than it's already stressed.
Because in 8 days, I needed to perform.
Exactly. She said that to me yesterday, and that's a low-level example, you know. So, like we said, cortisol can inflame. Be mindful about stress. And then inflammation and hormones. So everything is interconnected if you haven't recognized that yet. Like that's the intricacy that God made our body. Everything's connected. And so inflammation can affect insulin sensitivity. It can affect thyroid function, estrogen metabolism, testosterone levels. And it's why hormone symptoms often persist until inflammation is addressed. So this is interesting. I wish I had the graphic to show, but it's a picture that I've seen of men across the last century and the demasculinization of men across the century. So it has like the 1900 man. He's like all lean and buff. He looks good, 50 years old. And then the progression to now and the belly. And then it directly correlates with testosterone levels going down. But inflammatory, like toxic agents, environmental exposures, the food we eat, what has that done? It's gone up. And so bottom line is, men look at like the caveman that was super buff, all that stuff. And then we've turned into, this is why men need testosterone when they're 40, because our food chain, our soil, environmental exposures, what we're fueling our body, and it has completely disrupted testosterone naturally.
I mean, so saying that, where my mind goes also is these young girls.
Yes, same thing.
Girls going into puberty
yes,
earlier.
So true. So true. And it's because of the hormones in our meat and our milk and our dairy, and that you have 9-year-old girls starting their menstrual cycle, those things, same thing. So it's all an inflammatory kind of process that disrupts hormones. So it's really scary.
That is scary.
Yeah. And so why does body composition matter? So this is so important, especially like in your patient population, that muscle is anti-inflammatory.
Yes.
And weight loss does not always equal fat loss. We say this all the time in the world of GLPs, which we're not anti-GLPs, but that we don't want to sacrifice, we don't want to change obesity for sarcopenia or muscle loss, because muscle preservation equals longevity, and that in hand keeps us from being inflamed.
I know. And it is so important, because many people, their goal is to lose weight. And I want to help everybody lose weight and be healthy and be active and do what they want to do and say yes to all the things. But when you are not focusing on protein and strength training to prevent muscle loss, I was talking to a 42-year-old woman yesterday, and she's done the yo-yo dieting. And we've talked about this before, is when you're yo-yo dieting, you're gaining and losing the same 20 pounds, but you're constantly losing the same muscle every time, but gaining back as body fat. I said, if you continue down this pathway, and if you are going to be under-muscled for years down, when you're 70 or 80, you're not going to be able to get out of that chair.
It's true.
And she looked at me and she's like, that's pretty bold. And
scary,
I'm like,
but true.
But it is so true. And that's the problem, is so many people, because we do have an overweight issue right now of obesity in America, and everybody wants to get a certain number on
They're
the scale.
chasing a number. Yeah.
And they're not chasing health. They are affecting their 70s and 80s, and they're going to have people to depend on.
Yeah.
To get up out of a chair.
People don't realize the gravity of that.
Because, and they're not, and their bone density and everything. So this soapbox cannot get big enough.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's almost going to be like there's the GLP population, like the baby boomer population, you know, when they're in their 70s or 80s. And that's why we stand firm on the fact that that's not what we're going to do. Like I said, we're not anti-GLP. They can be very beneficial, 100%. But they have been prescribed without surveillance, without looking at body composition.
Without habits
and
in place.
So we're, in 20 years, what is this population of people going to look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why we care about, and we're putting people on a body composition, and they're meeting with us monthly so that we can make sure that they are staying within the means and losing a weight, 1 to 2 pounds max per week. And that muscle mass.
Preserving muscle mass.
Is staying.
Yeah.
Because the scale doesn't tell you everything.
Yeah.
That's why we have to get on that body composition scale that we use.
Yes. So there's, like we said, lifestyle drivers of inflammation, sleep, blood sugar, sedentary lifestyle, and that's important to note. And
again, you can eat perfectly and still be inflamed if your lifestyle is not aligned. Okay. So, I mean, there's just so many things that you need to, I always say, audit your life to see what's coming into your world and see what you can change, and ask questions, because that's why I asked a question one time when someone told me their goal was to be healthy in 2026 and drill down into that. What is healthy to them? And ask a professional, what is healthy food? Because a lean cuisine, I'm sorry, it's not healthy.
Right.
It's not the healthy thing. And unfortunately, they pay millions of dollars for marketing and it works.
Right. So how can you improve inflammation? So start here before supplements. So we all want, it's like the detox, everybody wants the anti-inflammatory supplements, everything's commercialized, but stabilize blood sugar, cut carbs, cut your simple sugars, the refined starches like we talked about, eat enough protein. Everybody needs to be getting a minimum of 100 grams of protein. And what percentage of people are? Very few.
Very few.
Prioritize sleep and reduce the ultra processed foods. Build muscle, not exhaustion. And so here's the thing: before you do any anti-inflammatory supplements or any hacks, you gotta do the basics. Yeah. And those are all. Here's the crazy thing: those are not expensive. Like, you don't have to pay somebody to help you do that.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
require some discipline, but that's the place to start.
Yeah, and you got to just be consistent. Don't go all in and try and change everything all at once. Just be consistent at changing small things at a time, because consistency is so much greater than intensity. And just doing the small daily steps is making those daily choices, because you're in your mind, you're by yourself most of the time when you're deciding what to put in your mouth, what you're putting on your body, what you're exposing yourself to, and just beware.
So here's some other lifestyle things that we can do to improve inflammation. So regulate your nervous system by walking daily, doing some kind of low intensity cardio, and strength training. So we preach strength training like we preach muscle or preach protein. It's just so important for longevity and preservation of muscle mass. And then do things just to help you be more calm. So whether that's like intentional breathing or prayer or going outside and getting sunlight exposure, rest on days without guilt. It's okay to have a rest day, and because calm bodies can heal.
Yes. I agree 100%.
And then to have strategic support. So like, everybody needs Christy in their life, you know? So sometimes you just need somebody to help hold you accountable, to help do that audit, to go, okay, what can we do to decrease inflammation? And then there's still tools. There are supplements that help. Yes. And then healing your gut can help, and hormone optimization, like what we do at Grace Wellness. Regenerative therapies, there's a whole line of regenerative therapies that is in the works here with a collaboration that we have to decrease inflammation in your body. And then stress management. So all of this stuff works when you have that strong foundation of the diet, the exercise, the sleep.
Yeah. I mean, just like you talk about supplements, because so many people want the supplement, want the pill, want the easy fix. And I mean, you can't out supplement what you're doing. Just like I always tell people, you know, you can't out train a bad diet. You can work out as much as you want, but if you're still eating the same way you did, you're going to look the exact same way.
Yeah.
Because trust me, I see it.
Yeah.
I see it all the time.
Yes. There are some key supplements that do decrease inflammation. So omega-3s. Do you want to speak to the omega-3s and omega-6s?
Yeah. So omega-3s, that's the good oil.
Right.
That's the oil that we are deficient in, because this world is so full of omega-6s. That's your seed oils. That is things that is in all the processed foods. And so it should be a ratio of 3 to 1, meaning 3 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. And it's like 15 to 1.
Because of processed foods.
Because of processed foods.
Yeah.
And so omega-3s, that is something that, I mean, I take it 2 or 3 times a day. Just to build it up. And I don't eat much processed foods.
Right.
But it's so good for your joints. It's good for your memory. It's good for reducing inflammation.
Yeah, really every body system.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to when you think about the disease processes that we talked about that diminishes inflammation of the brain, and the omega-3s combat all of those things. And then other important supplements, magnesium. We're huge magnesium fans for a lot of different reasons, but magnesium can decrease inflammation. Turmeric, curcumin, vitamin D. The whole world's low in vitamin D, mainly because of our food chain, the way we synthesize it, not really just because of light exposure. And then amino acids. You preach amino acids all day long.
All the time.
And that really helps support muscles. And everybody should be taking amino acids.
Yeah, amino acids is what is pulled out of protein, which most people are deficient in their diet, so that it's supporting the muscles. And so every day, you and I both drink it. It's just at least 5 grams of amino acids.
It's like the building blocks.
Yeah, it is a security blanket. It is that just that insurance for your muscles to make sure that if you're not hitting your protein, or if you have hard workouts and you need a little bit of extra energy, you're telling your body, your muscle has what it needs. Take it from the fat.
Yes.
Do not take my muscle.
Yeah.
And another thing is, there's different types of amino acids. there's a very popular one that you can get is called a branched chain amino acids.
BCAAs.
It doesn't contain all of the amino acids. So you want essential amino acids. So you want the EAAs when you are looking for an amino acids, and that's what we carry.
Yes.
I always recommend.
Yep. Okay, so our approach here collaboratively with what we do is to do that audit. You should do a self audit. You should have somebody help you do an audit. And then look at the biomarkers that we talked about. You know, you should have a healthcare provider that's willing to do those labs for you to look, are you inflamed based on labs, to do that hormone panel to look and see if hormones are disrupted because of inflammation. And then you should have that tailored nutrition program. And if you aren't good at doing it on your own, then you need to find somebody like Christy that can. And then look at body composition. Really, all of us should be looking at body composition in some way. And then, you know, if you're not able to do it on your own, if you feel like that it's kind of unattainable, then you need somebody on your team to help coach you along. And then to look at the long-term sustainability.
100%.
So kind of in what you mentioned earlier, you know, you don't have to do this overhaul, but if the day-to-day decisions are usually anti-inflammatory, then you're going to be okay.
Yes. I mean, and that's it. We are building a resilient body, and it is one step, one bite, one decision at a time.
Right.
And you do not go for perfection. It is unreal, and don't try and add too many things into your life. It's almost like goals and habits and things like that. Like maximum maybe 3.
Yeah.
But people that I coach, I really just focus on one major change for 30 days and master that.
That's right.
Master that one thing. And it's mostly eating 100 grams of protein.
Yeah. It's what you're fueling your body. But inflammation doesn't resolve overnight. And it took time to build it, and it takes time to calm it down. And so just like we say, weight loss is not linear, healing inflammation is not linear either. It's layered. So when you said to pick one thing, I also think, okay, what's the one thing you could pick with the biggest impact? Probably what you're feeding your body, you know, nutrition.
100%.
And so really the big takeaways for this are inflammation is huge. It has huge impact, especially chronically on your body. And so it starts with what we're putting in our body. And then the other thing is how we're treating our body as far as rest and, you know, self-care, and then environmental exposures. And, you know, muscle is medicine.
Yep. Muscle is medicine. I mean, it helps with inflammation because it's going to help regulate your blood sugar because it has because muscle stores glucose.
Right.
I mean, and if you're helping your blood sugar be more regulated instead of up and down, you know, anything like that's going to help with inflammation.
Yeah. So inflammation's feedback. You need to look at that as your body's talking to you. And so instead of asking, how do I suppress my symptoms? What kind of medicine do I need to not feel this pain? Then you need to say, no, why am I hurting?
Yes.
Why am I hurting? What am I doing to my body? So to cause that pain, and then try to calm that.
Yeah. I mean, and just like Bethany said earlier, is, you know, like we were talking about this morning, is so many people are scared to run because they don't feel good. They say it's hard on your body. And we're like, we feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, my knees feel good. My hips feel good. I mean, yeah, my muscles may ache and I may have small injuries, but they're going to be acute, and I'm going to address them, and I'm going to do recovery things, but I feel good.
Yeah.
And so if my knees start to hurt, or my joints start to hurt, or something is talking to my body, I immediately, I usually do a fast. I do about a 36-hour fast. And I'm taking inventory of what I've been putting in my body, because things sneak into your world. And it's not intentional, because we're not all perfect. And, you know, maybe you have a piece of bread, or, you know, maybe eating more fruit, sugar, things like that. And then once you start letting it in and it starts coming in a little bit more, you just, the goal is that you audit your life often enough that it doesn't get out of control.
Right.
As soon as your body starts to talk to you, that you hear it. It's just almost like God's will. Like,
Yeah.
If you hear God whisper, obey.
That's right. Do it now.
Do it now.
Don't wait until you're really inflamed. So, and I think the take home too is like God made your body so perfectly that your body is wise, and inflammation is not punishment. It is communication. And that's how we should look at it. And so when we respond to that inflammation or that communication with nourishment and rest and movement and alignment, then your body can heal. And that's what you were saying about us and running this morning. People are like, oh, I can't run because I hurt. But we do things every day to combat whatever little injury or whatever's like cooking so that we do feel good. So we do all these recovery things. It's the same way with inflammation. That you step back, do the self-check, and listen to what your body's saying. And so that's kind of what we personally do to decrease inflammation. We eat healthy. We try to avoid processed food. We prioritize sleep. We definitely prioritize muscle and exercise.
I mean, because you and I both, we are very low gluten.
Yeah.
We don't really eat much gluten or dairy. No
Exactly.
sugar.
Yeah. No alcohol.
No alcohol.
So, yeah. And that's huge.
Yeah, we really prioritize protein and single food ingredients. And it's just like I tell a lot of my clients, and when you get into the habit of, I call it marrying your breakfast and lunch, and so it's less decision making.
Yeah.
And you find that breakfast and that lunch that serves your body well, you're able to get up, feel good, not get a 2 p.m. slump. We should not be getting 2 p.m. slumps, guys. And, not have any symptoms of bloating, joint pain.
And that's one reason we eat the same thing every day. We eat
every
the same
day.
thing every day.
I
We
don't
know
have to
it
think about
serves us well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're not inflamed.
Yes. So, well, I hope that this gave you a little bit of inspiration to try to decrease inflammation in your life so that you can be the best that you can be.
Yep. Guys, thank you so much for spending time with us on the Grit and Grace podcast. If this episode spoke to you, please like, share, and follow us on all platforms. And as you head back into your life, choose to pursue it with strength, faith, and intention. A life marked by both grit and grace.